sucks! Well, I think you already know where I'm going with this. Today, we will be reviewing my Godzilla collection. That is right, we're reviewing my entire Godzilla collection from 1954 to 2021. Because today's my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, which y'all don't really care for. So, let's begin. So let's start off with Godzilla 1954. And honestly, this is an amazing figure. I kinda like it, but at the same time I also don't like it. The articulation is nice. You can rotate the head, move the arms, and move the legs, which is pretty neat. And you can also move the tail. I also forgot that. Even though it's chubby-like, I really like it. So let's talk about King Caesar. Again, very nice for Bandai vinyl, but at the same time also not. Because there is one problem I encounter with this figure, because when he stands, he always falls down. But besides that, it's okay. I really like it too. And the articulation is also good. You can move the arms, and you can twist the chest, move the legs, and again, you can also move the tail, which makes a weird squeaky sound. So overall, best King Caesar figure. Now let's talk about Mechagodzilla from 1974. Again, very nice Bandai vinyl figure, but again, also not the best, obviously. The articulation is good too. You can move the head, move the arms, and move the legs. And you can also twist the chest, of course. Now time for the downfall of the figure, and that is the arms. They should just go straight down instead of just looking weird. But this is an amazing figure as well. Overall, very nice. Next up is the NECA 1994 Godzilla figure. And again, this is awesome. I really like the posability, and the paint is not bad, but this is very nice. The articulation is the same. You can move the head, open the jaw, move the neck. You can also twist the chest, and the arms also have their own posability, unlike just moving. You can also move the hands and move the fingers. And you can also move the legs and make them as much possible as you want. And again, you can also make the tail, which is very nice. Simple NECA articulation. But again, this is an amazing figure for any Godzilla fan. Now let's talk about Millennium Godzilla. Very nice for a figure, but at the same time, also not one of my favorite Godzilla designs. The dorsal plates look very nice, but I think the purple shade looks off for dorsal plates on Godzilla to me. But the face does look good though. You can even see the ear as well. While not my favorite Godzilla design, this is a pretty cool Godzilla. The articulation sucks though. You can only move the arms and move the legs, and that's pretty much all you can do with the figure. They should have added more articulation, but at the same time, this is very nice. Now let's talk about Mothra from Tokyo SOS. And yes, I just have to use my hand just to hold it up. And again, the articulation also sucks because the only thing you can do is move the head. And that's it. But it's very nice in case you want to make it fly. But this is a very nice figure for coloring, but at the same time, this is not nice. Now let's talk about 2004 Anguirus. And while this is not one of my favorite figures, this is one of my favorite kaijus as it is Godzilla's best friend. And while it really looks nice, including the ridiculous tail, this is one of my favorite kaijus. But the articulation sucks because you can only move the legs and move the arms. Not the head, not the tail, that is all. But still very nice. Now let's talk about Playmates Godzilla 2004 from Godzilla Final Wars. And oh my god, this figure's huge! This is very nice and honestly one of my favorite Godzilla designs. Now let's talk about the articulation. You can pretty much move the arms and you can move the head. You can also move both of the legs and you can also move the feet. How cool! You can also move the tail and move another part of the tail. Now let's discuss the problems. First off is the tail. It's kind of, you can see a little hole in it for some reason. You can also tell that the back looks very weird shaped to me, but this is one of my favorite Godzillas and favorite designs. Now let's talk about the Godzilla 2014 Destruction Battle playset. Yes, I'm gonna count minifigures and building bases. Now let's talk about the figures themselves. And let's start with the Godzilla 2014 figure. And very nice, but at the same time, very terrible. The articulation sucks because you can move the arms and move the legs. Of course, that's pretty much all you can do. And you can pop out the arm. Now let's talk about female Muto. Very nice, and it kind of looks weird with the red shade on one of their arms. But the main problem with this figure, and pretty much the whole problem, is no articulation. You can only take out the arms, and that's it. And the sad thing is that SH Monster Arts hasn't made either of the Mutos. Why? This is honestly not one of my favorites. Now let's discuss the city. The city can be for destruction. And we get 2 helicopters, 2 jets, and a battleship. If you're wondering where the battleship is, well, I lost it as a kid. But hey, at least we get a cool set. Now let's discuss the 2014 Godzilla figure. Fun fact, this is actually my first Godzilla, and it's not really the best. The articulation sucks because you can only move the arms and move the legs, which feel very weird. And you can't make him stand. What the fuck? You can also press his chest and it moves the tail. But the tail doesn't work that well. So overall, not my favorite, but I will give it praise for it being my first Godzilla figure. Well, now let's go over the... Oh boy. Well, now let's go over Titanus Khan. And he's pretty neat for a 2017 Playmates Khan. The articulation, also very good. You can move the head with swivels, and you can move the arms and hands, and you can move the legs, and move the feet too. I'm not doing so well, but you could do it. Overall, very nice. Now let's go over Shin Godzilla from 2016. Overall, nice for a Playmates version, but at the same time, also not nice. Articulation, you can move the hands, move the head, you can move the feet, and move the legs. And also, you can move the tail, but there is a certain problem with the tail. It can't go down. Now that's pretty much it for Shin Godzilla. Now we got... Oh no. Well, I'll just go over the main one, because they pretty much do the same articulation. Move hand, move hands, move legs, and move 2 swivels with the tails. And that's all the articulation they can do. But pretty neat for their designs. Now let's go over Titanus Musura, which she sucks, because you can only move the wings. And that's pretty much all. The design looks nice, but it sucks. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention the wings look floppy. But that's all. Next we got Buildings, Rodan, and the Osprey. The Buildings is basically for... Well, here's the Osprey, or Raptor 1 from the movie. And here is Titanus Rodan. Pretty nice. You can move the wings, move the legs, and you can also make a rotation on the head. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you can make him go, meow. Next up, Monster Zero and the Buildings. And yes, I lost the Argo again. But for Buildings, you can simply just... Well, here's Monster Zero. And I have to admit, this is pretty nice. And the articulation is very cool too. You can move the wings. You can also rotate the heads a little bit. And you can also move the legs and do swivels with both of the tails. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, you can pump off Kevin's head. But yeah, pretty neat for a Monster Zero figure. Next up is... Uh-oh. Yep, I got another huge Godzilla figure. And I kinda like it too. The articulation is pretty much the same as the small version, since it's an upscale. You can move both of the arms and both of the legs, and you can also move both of the tails, as I just mentioned. Pretty nice for a Godzilla figure, even though it's massive. Next up is a disappointing figure, Godzilla 2019 from NECA. Reason why? Well, one of them is the face. The dirt pies really throw it off. I don't think you can see it on mine, but believe me, I can. And also, he can't look up at all. And another thing I'm disappointed is the legs. Why do the legs look like this? It just really throws it off. The articulation's kind of mid. It does the same thing as the other Godzilla, but it's just so tight. So it really just doesn't work as well. The tail is also disappointing because if you use it too much like that, you can break the tail off. But that isn't the only thing that can pop off easily. If you use the arm too rough like I am right now, you can break it off. I am very disappointed with this figure. The Atomic Breath version looks better, but I don't get why they did this poorly. It is mid. Next up is Con 2021, and this is a nice figure. Oh yeah, and it could also have battle damage. Oh yeah, he also comes with his axe as well. His articulation is good because you can rotate the hand all the way and move the arm and move the hand, and you can also do a rotation of the arm and move the legs just the same, and you can also rotate the head. This figure is awesome. I like it. Next up is Godzilla 2021, the Atomic Breath version. And this is pretty nice. Again, you can also do battle damage. And this time he comes with his Atomic Breath. Not like the radio tower like the last one. You can open the jaw, move the hands, move the legs, and you can move the tail, which is on a ball joint. And that's all the articulation. Pretty nice for this figure. Next up is the Epic Roar Godzilla from 2021. This is pretty nice. The articulation's kind of mid. You can move the arms, move the legs, rotate the feet, and you can also use the tail, which has a ball joint. And what's cool about this is you press that button and it can epic roar. So overall, this figure is very nice. And so, that is my entire Godzilla collection so far. I really enjoy collecting these things from 2014 right to now. And hopefully, I can see y'all in the next video.